Welcome back to another YouTube video, guys. In this video we have some huge news regarding Tesla and, you guessed it, Warren Buffett. So Tesla is surging to a new record high, near record high, on investors buying big into the stock following the announcement that it will be added to the S&P 500. Warren Buffett has also been rumored to buy Tesla. It went up 8% yesterday, and it is extending its gains today by now trading 10% up intraday. The result is that Tesla added now around $80 billion in valuations to its stock over 2 days. On top of the announcement of the S&P 500 inclusion, Tesla stock was also helped by a price target increase from Morgan Stanley. However, it's hard to justify such a massive increase in valuation from just this news information. An interesting theory is that some big investors are now heavily investing in Tesla, and a particularly interesting theory is that the famed investor Warren Buffett might be investing big. So this guy named Frank Pelan, sorry if I mispronounced your last name, found that about 50 million Tesla shares have disappeared into the hands of currently unknown investors on the 13F filings, which disclose large ownerships. This is particularly interesting in the context of Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's investment firm, filing for a confidential investment in a new company that it didn't want to disclose in order not to overly affect the market. An investment of that size would most likely result in a more than 5% ownership in most companies. Unless they manage to obtain an exception from the SEC, the company has to be quite large for investment of that size, not reaching the 5% ownership threshold for disclosure. There are only about 25 companies listed on U.S. exchanges big enough to not reach that threshold, and Berkshire Hathaway owns 9 of them and is one of them. Tesla would be one of the few companies big enough that the investment would make sense. Pelan here argues that the missing Tesla shares and this mysterious investment from Berkshire Hathaway makes for an interesting theory that Warren Buffett might have acquired a stake in Tesla. So if you want to look more into this Twitter thread, I will link it in the description or the comments, just so y'all can read this very well thought out thread that this guy has produced. So let's take a look at where Tesla actually closed up today. So it ended at, as you can see, 48,664, and we hit highs of all the way up to around 495.85, so 496. As you can see, we just had a rocking day today, and then we never really got that pullback, so we just continued this upward momentum throughout basically the whole day, and towards the end of the day we did get a slight pullback, but it was nothing compared to how much of a huge run this had today. So we opened up around, or we closed yesterday around, what was that, 441, and we just gapped up today and we just went straight for it, and we didn't even really get to see some type of pullback other than this initial pullback down to 474, but even then we had already gapped up so much. Now going into the sessions before we end the week, I would like to see a little more of a pullback, maybe down to 474. That would be an ideal pullback, but we might not even get it going into the next few trading days. And ideally, the best pullback would be back down to the 454 range to test that as a new support, just because it was an old resistance. But the likelihood of that happening is very slim. But who knows, we could see that type of pullback, and if we do, I would be most likely adding on quite a few shares, just because this would be a good range to add it on to. But anyways, let's get back into some more Warren Buffett news. So also, according to another 13F filing, Buffett took a fresh position with 3.7 million shares in the company Pfizer, which soared last week after reporting positive initial data on its coronavirus vaccine candidate. He also bought 21.2 million shares of AbbVie, 22.4 million shares of Merck, and about 30 more million shares of Bristol Myers. So these are around 3 big vaccine companies or pharma companies that he's taken new positions in. Meanwhile, he continued to shed bank stocks like JP Morgan, Chase, Wells Fargo, while exiting Costco. Apple, the number one stock in Buffett's portfolio, received a trim. Berkshire also sold 36.3 million Apple shares, though the iPhone maker remains the top Warren Buffett stock at a whopping 47.8% of his actual portfolio. He also began to take a small position in Amazon. So as you can see, he's taking interest in these big pharma companies, probably due to the coronavirus vaccine news. And what was surprising, he also shed, like I mentioned, the Apple stock. Now, as I mentioned in the early part of this video, this is going to be huge news for his portfolio if he is in fact investing in Tesla. And I think this is just another huge catalyst for Tesla, because you have someone as big as Warren Buffett starting to invest in them. So that leads me to believe that Tesla will soon hit all-time highs once again. But anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll be posting more videos about this and other videos related to the stock market.